Hey everybody, Kennedy Ducey back here for Odd Shopper Day 3. Three to the dome. The Australian Open getting going. Really looking forward to some more amazing tennis matches. We've seen some thrilling 5-set victories already. Want to get into exactly what I'm looking at as we head into Day 3. And I want to start with the story of Day 1, which was Rafa Nadal and how bad this man looked. We got to talk about this match that he's going to face. Mackenzie McDonald, an American, came through another thrilling 5-set victory over Brandon Nakashima. Looked unbelievable in that match. He has been playing at a very, very high level, dating back to the wins that he had in Adelaide. And I know you can see here on the screen, got a walkover against Daniel Galan, beat Dan Evans. And you think, okay, well, he lost to Michael Emer, he lost to Yoshi Nishioka. I mean, it's hard to sort out this man's form. When you talk about form, right, and we talk about tennis betting, what we want to do when we bet on tennis is we want to be able to identify when a loss is, I guess, not a bad loss, a good loss, if there is such a thing, and vice versa. If you can figure out when a win is maybe a fluke win or the opponent was really not playing at a high level, you need to be able to rate a player's form. And if you can do that, then you can definitely beat the books, beat the lines. And I think that right here, what we have with Mackenzie McDonald is a young man who is playing tennis better than he's ever played before. He's obviously up to number 65 in the world. If you watch these matches, though, you watch the Emer match, you watch the Dan Evans match, the Nishioka match, by the way, I mean, Nishioka beating McDonald, not a big deal. Yoshi Nishioka looks like one of the most dangerous players not in the top 30 in tennis. Actually, I want to double check that he's not in the top 30 right now. Yeah, he's 33. This man is playing some unbelievable tennis. Anyway, McDonald looks great. He looked unbelievable in that Nakashima match. I thought his composure was excellent. The fact that he was able to win a 5-set match after having, he has, I think, the longest losing streak on tour of, or he had anyway, of losing 5-set matches or blowing 2 sets to love leads. I don't know why I'm talking about McDonald so much because I really want to focus on Rafa, but I just want to point out that Mackenzie McDonald is playing the best I've ever seen him play. It's a great story. He missed a lot of time due to injury 2 years ago. He's back. He's a grinder, and he's been getting out of jail free with that. We're getting out of jail with that serve. The T serve's been working for him. I mean, I'm just very impressed. I think he's playing clean tennis right now. He's not giving anything away, and that's going to be important here when you're facing Rafa Nadal, a guy that had an unusual amount of unforced errors last night, Monday night or Sunday night rather, against Jack Draper. Rafa was way off. He was missing returns, missing second serve returns, hitting the ball on a weird place on the racket. It just looked way off his game, going for winners that he wasn't able to get. I mean, obviously he had his Rafa points that he won, and he was able to win that match, but it wasn't without a lot of help from Jack Draper, who just was dealing with physical issues. He was dealing with cramping, and this is a story of Jack Draper's career, really. But I do want to point out that Rafa not only did he look bad, but he came into this event on a 2-match losing streak. He had lost 6 out of his last 7 matches before he was able to beat Jack Draper. It looked for all the world as if he was going to fall behind 2-1. Draper, again, with the cramping really late in that set, just let him off the hook. And, Nadal also going into this tournament had mentioned that he did not like the tennis balls, that they were not spinning the way that he would like. Again, I'm not saying he's already making excuses, but it's just bad vibes right now with Rafa. This was one of the worst performances I saw out of him last night. And let me show you the stats here with Rafa, if we can, because Grand Slams also, you were able to get it's very nice. You can get a lot of stats like unforced errors that you're not able to get ordinarily with even just Masters tournaments, right? But just going through here and showing you, serving at 66% is actually that's actually a negative for Rafa because he served so well and he still had so much trouble coming through this match. But look at this, 46 unforced to 41 winners. That's just not, you don't normally see that with Rafael Nadal. He does not give anything away. You always see the winner count higher than the unforced error count. So that right there was weird, as was, 6 to 12 on break point. You would have thought he would have played a little bit better, and Draper wasn't really even landing first serves, so it wasn't like it was impossible for him to win these break points. It wasn't like there was spectacular serving break point down. Anyway, the bottom line here is that I like the over 30.5 games. It took a long time to say that, but I do think that McDonald here, it is very smart right now to bet against Rafael Nadal. It's very smart to fade Rafa, to buy into what we saw in the first match, which was bad play. And obviously he's Rafael Nadal. He could figure things out, but I think right now the smart thing to do is to bet on him struggling. And I think that's what you do with the over 30.5. It's tough with the game spread versus the total, but I do not think Mackenzie McDonald is going to win this match. I think if Mackenzie McDonald does take a set, does take 2 sets, there's no world in where he's able to close that out in 3 sets. And that's the only way, if you want to bet on McDonald, that's the only way you're going to lose this. It's either going to be Rafa rolls him, which is possible, but if he has, if he gets into his match, if he gets his teeth into this match, the over will hit, because Nadal's not going to go down in straight sets, especially considering what we just talked about with McDonald having issues closing it out, 2 sets to love up. He's blown, I think, 8 2 sets to love leads in Grand Slams. So no, I do not think that he's going to win in straight sets. I do think that this match goes over 30.5. Before we get to the next pick, I do just want to point out, if you haven't heard, if you have not signed up for the DraftKings Sportsbook, there is a link below. This is the best deal that we've ever had, the best deal that any sportsbook has ever offered. It's a limited time offer. You could bet $5 on a DraftKings Sportsbook when you sign up with the link below and get $200 instantly. Now, in most states, you have to be 21 or older. You have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or call or text 1-800-GAMBLER if you or someone you know has a gambling problem. But definitely sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook with that link. Bet $5, get $200. It's that easy. You can put it all on. Maybe you could put it all on Mackenzie McDonald money line if that's what you're feeling. But I do think that there's more bets out there that possess value. One of them right here, Corentin Moutet and Francisco Cerundolo. I want to quickly talk about this one. You see here, right here, Cerundolo ranked 29 in the world. That is much to do with the fact that he was able to get to the semifinals of Miami last year, and he was on fire in that tournament, right? But it wasn't without some help. He had a retirement from Jannik Sinner. He had Riley Opelka was with a shoulder issue. He had to retire from that match. Very bizarre way that he achieved all those points, but nonetheless, that's why you see this guy in Grand Slams. Look at the recent matches that we've seen from Francisco Cerundolo. He beat Guido Pella, a man that we haven't seen play professional tennis in over a year. And, even in that match, he struggled a little bit with his fellow countrymen. Then we saw him at the United Cup this year, lost in very short order to Borna Coric and Arthur Rinderknecht. And then last year, obviously, he ended with 2 losses indoors on indoor hard courts. The man can play on clay. I do not think that he has what it takes to beat Corentin Moutet, a man that just went to war with Yibing Wu. And I know, again, this is a thing that we talk about in Grand Slams and best of 5. You got to talk about the progressive fatigue, right? You have to talk about the fact that as these matches go on, as the sets pile up on your legs, you are going to get progressively tired. But I do not think that is enough of an argument against Moutet for me not to bet him here as the underdog. The wrong player is 100% favorite here. Moutet, if anything, should be the short favorite at -120, -130. He is a guy that, and I want to just highlight this here, look at the experience on hard courts. Cerundolo, 19-15 over his career. Even last year with all the wins in Miami, he was 7-8 on hard courts. And again, I just want to point out, the Tiafoe and Monfils matches, whatever, they were nice, but the retirement of Opelka, the retirement of Sinner, and I mean, he was losing to Pedro Cachin in qualifying, losing to Jerry Shang, who I sneakily think maybe the game spread tomorrow against Francis Tiafoe. Lost his last 4 matches of the year on hard courts, and it started this season 1-2. So you do the math there. He's lost 6 out of his last 7 on hard courts, and you look at on the other side of things, Corentin Moutet, he has much more experience on hard courts. He had a nice season last year on hard courts, 4 straight winning seasons on hard courts, and he was hitting that lob to perfection last night. And I just want to point out once again, Yibing Wu, very good tennis player. I was on Wu money line. He was the deserving favorite last night. It was a heartbreaking loss, and Wu played some excellent tennis. Moutet just played better tennis at moments, in the big moments especially, hit that lob so well, and played amazing defense, made Wu play extra balls. And a lot of the argument for Cerundolo being a good fast surface player, being a good all-surface player, is that he has a big forehand. He has a big serve. Well, I don't know if it's much bigger than Yibing Wu. Yibing Wu was crushing the ball last night, and Moutet able to absorb the pace, play great defense, bring points to the net, chase down drop shots. I don't see how Cerundolo wins this match, so I won't be betting on him. I think that it's a very, very solid bet to fade Francisco Cerundolo in this spot. I want to talk about one more match that I'm going to be on, and it's a fun one. Hubert Hurkacz and Lorenzo Sonego, a storied head-to-head. You see these guys just play banger after banger after banger. Sonego 2-0 in both of the matches that they played last year. Interesting note that they're both late in the season last year, but they were both on indoor hard courts, or excuse my language, or excuse me here. One of them was in 2022, one of them was in 2020, but both of them were indoor hard courts. Auckland was obviously an outdoor hard court, and Hurkacz was able to win that 2-0, but Sonego's won the last two. Sonego has a big, big serve. Now, what concerns me here is he had cramping issues late in his match, I believe his first round match against Jordan Thompson at the U.S. Open. He's had some physical issues. He had to retire against Daniil Medvedev in this match in Adelaide, which he looked spectacular in that match. You see right there the score line. He was on serve. I believe he was on serve in the second set. And then the first set ended in a tiebreak. It was a very, very tight match. And the way that Daniil Medvedev is playing right now, that's an impressive loss. I want to talk about impressive losses. And then, Nuno Borges, a warrior, a guy that had a great U.S. Open last year, able to get through him in the first round here. So I'm a little concerned about cramping, but you can actually go over to DraftKings and you can get Lorenzo Sonego to win a set priced at -140. And that is absolutely my favorite way to play this. Look at the way that Hurkacz has played lately. 2 losses at the United Cup, wins over Bublik and Wawrinka. I don't really care. That's not very impressive. That match against Pedro Martinez was tight. I'll give him a pass. I like Pedro Martinez. I think he's a tough hard court out. But we're not seeing dominance right now from Hubert Hurkacz. And he obviously has all-world talent. He could turn it on at any moment. But right now, we're just not seeing that quality of play from Hubert Hurkacz. And I think Lorenzo Sonego makes this a match. I think he takes a set. If you can't get -140 on on Lorenzo Sonego to win a set, you can right now. It might be gone by the time you see this. Just go ahead and play the game spread. I think going ahead and playing the game spread is a very, very good way to bet on Lorenzo Sonego having some success here. So I like that quite a bit. And look at the head-to-head, right? 4-2. I think that gives me a lot of confidence here that Lorenzo Sonego could even go on and win this match. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes over here. You can get him at +320 to win that match. I'm going to sprinkle a little money, a little half unit, maybe a little quarter unit on that, or whatever it would take to get to 1 unit. I think that's probably like 0.35 units, something like that. I think that's a pretty good look as well, because Sonego has a good history at Grand Slams, big serve. The courts are going to help him here. And while Hurkacz also has a big serve, I think this is just a very, very close match. And I don't think he should be +320 in any scenario. That's my heater going off. I think it agrees with me that Lorenzo Sonego and the heat that comes off of his racket is a good bet. So that's it for me. We will be here every day on Odds Shopper's YouTube channel, giving out some tennis picks. I'm looking forward to being together for 2 weeks. And we'll see you tomorrow with more fire.